I sit with the Bible on my lap. A soft lamp casts a warm circle of light. Outside. The night keeps its hush. Inside. The room breathes with quiet. I invite you to settle in. Find a place that feels safe. Let shoulders drop. Let the jaw unclench. Let the hands rest. Palms up or down. As they choose, I ask you to take a slow breath with me. Inhale gently through the nose. Feel the lengthening. Hold for a moment. Exhale softly through the mouth. Let the breath carry away the edge of the day. In the spaces between breaths, notice the steady rhythm. A steady rhythm holds a steady heart. A steady heart receives a steady grace. The voice I will use is low and steady. It guides without hurry. It does not demand quick answers. It offers a path back to calm. Tonight's reading is for healing. It is for softening what is sore. It is for rest. The words come like a lantern on a dark path. They will not push or press. They will walk with you. I remind myself first to be present. Presence is a quiet gift. It requires no performance. It asks only that attention stay kind. I place my hand on the open page. The paper feels cool underneath. The ink carries names and promises and stories. I do not plan to recite every line. I will let the heart of the passages rise into the room. I will honor the quiet between sentences. That space becomes a place where the spirit breathes. We begin by letting the body soften. Right now, let the feet find contact with the floor or the bed. Notice their weight. Sense the points where the body meets the surface beneath it. These contact points are anchors. They hold like friendly hands. Allow them to remind the mind that rest is possible. Allow them to remind the mind that peace can be simple. A short prayer, he says. Not long or elaborate. A few words that carry our need. I speak them in my mind, and for you in a hush, a request for mercy, a whisper of thanks, an offering of our tiredness. The prayer is gentle and brief. It asks for healing that comes quietly. It asks for peace to settle like soft rain on parched ground. The voice does not demand a sudden cure. It asks for presence to hold the ache, to help the mind unwound. I invite a simple image. Imagine a small lamp beside a bedside table. The lamp gives a steady glow. The glow does not banish the night, but it reshapes it. Shadows become softer. Shapes hold less threat. In that light, the familiar becomes kind. Picture your cares set down on the table, each one placed gently, not pushed away, only set down. See them rest there. See them breathe. I speak of mercy as a steady stream. Mercy flows even when hands tremble. It does not arrive as thunder. It comes as water that meets the soil and slowly restores. Think of a narrow creek through a dry field. At first the ground resists. After a little time the grass lifts. The earth remembers how to drink. So mercy meets the heart, and the heart remembers how to open. That opening does not force the night to end. It only lets the next thing be more bearable. Words from Scripture will come in paraphrase. I choose lines that hold tenderness. I do not quote directly. I reflect the spirit of the passages in a voice that rests. One passage I name is a psalm that speaks of shelter and rest. It paints God as a steady presence beside a weary traveler. The image is simple: a hand that guides through shadow, a stone to sit upon, a path that leads to calm. When I read such lines, I pause often. The pauses are for taking the words in. They are for letting the promise sink into the skin. Another passage I hold is a gentle letter that reminds the reader to cast burdens on one who cares. The writer uses images of tenderness care, like that of a shepherd, attention like that of a parent staying near. I share this quietly, painting the tender picture so that the heart can lean into it. The sentence comes slowly. The voice does not insist on analysis. It simply rests the thought there. Resting with that thought is an offering. I tell the audience to breathe with the rhythm of the phrases. Let sentences ride the outbreath. Exhale and imagine the weight slipping from the shoulders. Let the next inhale bring the sense of being upheld. This rhythm becomes almost a lullaby. A lullaby does not solve the world. It consoles. It keeps company with sleep. It holds the possibility of repair. We use short prayers during the reading. These are not calls for a theological debate. They are small petitions healing for a tired limb, softening for a grieving heart, strength to face tomorrow. They are spoken with humility, without demand. The tone is one of trust more than command. Trust that mercy moves when we need it most. Sometimes the mind wanders. That is natural. When attention drifts, I do not scold. I guide the attention back with a kind nudge. I say less and sit more. Silence itself becomes a teacher. The quiet between words carries as much as the words. It is a gentle space where a tired mind finds room to breathe. I let that silence be its own reading. I encourage simple acts that invite rest. If hands are clutched, unclench them. If the jaw is tight, soften it. If the chest feels heavy, place a hand there and breathe to the rhythm beneath it. These small actions are anchors to the present. They remind the body that it is not alone. They are like a friend clasping a hand in the dark and not speaking, only holding. The lamp beside me flickers faintly with the small draught of night. Movement outside is distant and harmless. The world beyond the window goes on. Inside, the moment is steady. A page turns of its own accord, and the next passage waits. The waiting itself is a mercy. It allows the heart to catch up to the words. I weave in a short reflection between readings. The reflection is plain and calm. It says that healing can be slow. Progress may be a small thing. A single hour of less pain holds value. A breath that comes easier is a sign. The reflection does not promise immediate wholeness. It celebrates each step of relief. Small victories are honored. Even a softer thought is victory. Night can bring memories that sting. If these arise, I ask the listener to picture a warm blanket. Fold it around those memories, as one would wrap a fragile thing. The blanket does not change what happened. It brings comfort. In the safety of that covering, the memories feel less raw. The heart can breathe a little. That breathing is part of healing. I name hope not as an abstract doctrine, but as a real presence. Hope is like dawn that refuses to judge the night. It keeps coming. In the darkest hours, it simply keeps coming. The promise in Christ is like that dawn, patient and steady. It does not shame the darkness. It arrives with light that gradually makes things clear. The tone here is gentle and steady. The aim is to soothe, not to argue. After a passage and a short reflection, I invite silence again. The room settles. The breathing deepens. The pages remain open. In the stillness, small prayers surface naturally. There is no need to correct their shape. Each one matters. Each one is heard. I remind you that rest is not neglect. Rest is a gift to the body and the soul. To sleep is to accept care. The night holds medicine in its quiet. Let it do its work. Let the body restore. Let the soul unclench. The reading aims to be a companion as eyes close. As the section draws to a close, I prepare to move to the next part. I state the intention to read a passage that brings more direct comfort. Before turning the page, I pause and let the room breathe. The pause is intentional. It signals a gentle transition rather than a sharp turn. It allows the heart to gather itself for the next quiet step. I end this part with a simple benediction in thought. May mercy meet the weariness. May peace settle like dew. My hope rise like morning light. The words stay soft. The aim is to leave a calm impression, not a flurry of explanations. Now the Bible rests open. The lamp keeps its steady glow, and the room feels a degree lighter. The next reading waits with tenderness. When I speak again, I will move into the first selected passage. The passage will be read with care, paraphrased into gentle images, and followed by another short pause for listening. For now, let the breath slow, the shoulders fall, and the heart rest a little more. Sometimes a distance settles between the heart and the one it seeks. It arrives like a soft fog that blurs the edges of things. Faces remain familiar, but the warmth feels remote. Prayers feel like words sent into a wide sky. The Bible sits open, and still the page can seem thin between now and what is hoped for. I name this quietly because naming loosens its grip. Saying that it is real gives room for gentleness. There is no hurry to fix it, no demand for immediate proof. The feeling itself is honest. Sitting with it does not betray faith. It is part of the long, honest road. I do not pretend the fog disappears with a clever thought. Invite a different approach. First, witness the feeling. Let the label be simple. I feel distant. The sentence is short. It holds space without trying to change what is true in the moment. Breath follows the statement. Inhale slowly. Count to 3. Hold for a beat. Exhale twice as long. Let the chest soften. The rhythm helps the mind stop racing toward explanations. It steadies the body enough to listen. Listening is the beginning of an honest turning. I read to the room, not to hide the struggle, but to bring a companion voice near. The Bible offers images that do not erase doubt. They sit beside doubt, like an old friend. One image is of a steady presence that walks with the traveller, even when the traveller cannot feel the companion's hand. The presence is patient. There is no glare of accusation. There is only company. If the mind asks why the feeling came, let that question rest for now. Curiosity can wait. Right now, kindness matters more than answers. Place a soft hand on the heart. Feel the slow thud under the palm. Each beat is a small proof of life. That life is held. The contact with the chest is a simple act of trust. It is an offering that says, I am here. I am open to being held. When distance feels like silence, remember that silence itself holds many things. Silence can be a space where seeds wait. It can be a shelter where new growth is forming unseen. The quiet between words does not mean absence. It sometimes means preparation. A seed does not need constant light to grow. It needs a rhythm of night and day, and steady care. In the same way, the heart can be in a quiet season that shapes the next movement. I paraphrase a psalm in a way that carries this comfort. It speaks of one who knows the path already taken, down to its smallest turns. The image is of a hand that has walked the road before, even when the traveller cannot see that hand. Its path is woven into the day. The thought is small and steady. It offers assurance that not all is unseen in the way that matters most. Feelings of distance can be accompanied by a sense of unworthiness. If that shadow appears, let it be met with a soft correction. Worth is not earned by a moment of clarity. It is not measured by the heat of feeling. Worth remains. The mind can be tired. It does not change the truth of being loved. Repeat this slowly. Inside love exists even when feeling is thin. Say it without striving for a sudden conviction. Let the phrase land like a soft bird on the windowsill. There are small, practical ways to tend to this season. A short ritual helps. Light a small lamp or a candle with care. Watch the flame for a few breaths. The movement of the flame is a natural metronome. It guides inhalations and exhalations without demanding thought. Another gentle act is to trace a simple sign of blessing across the forehead or the heart. The motion is not a formula. It is a physical prayer. The body remembers touch more quickly than the mind sometimes does. I speak of a story where a shepherd seeks a single sheep and rejoices when it is found. The joy is plain and honest. It does not hinge on how long the sheep wandered. The seeking itself reveals a value placed on every single life. Imagine that care as a steady net under the traveller. Even when the traveller misses the net remains. That image can be quieting to the restless mind. Names matter in seasons of distance. Name what is heavy tonight. Maybe it is grief. Maybe it is fatigue. Maybe it is anger at God for the way things have turned. Allow a list, short and clear. Each item named is given form and becomes manageable. When everything is unnamed, it grows chaotic. Naming allows the heart to sort. It makes an inventory that the hands can fold into prayer. The reading that follows will paraphrase a letter that invites casting burdens on a caring one. The invitation is simple and not demanding. It asks for honesty rather than polished words. Place the burdens on the page as if setting them on a low table. Then breathe. The act of placing is itself a relief. It does not guarantee immediate lifting. It does promise not to carry alone. Comfort sometimes arrives as patience. The night is patient. It holds the body and time. Patience does not rush the dawn. It expects it without complaint. Trust that the slow work is at play. The inner weather changes in its own season. Even the steady hand must wait for the soil to respond after rain. If doubt whispers that distance equals abandonment, answer with a different image. Imagine a parent leaning over a sleeping child. The child cannot feel the parent's breath, but the parent stays. The room is quiet. The parent's presence is a vigilance that does not intrude upon sleep. That form of watching is not conditional on the child's awareness. So too, presence may remain even when it is not sensed. Music can be a soft bridge in this hour. A single hymn line hummed under the breath works like a thread. Hum quietly. Let the melody be simple. The tune anchors attention without sharp words. It walks slowly with the breath. Music touches memory and feeling in ways that speech sometimes cannot reach. There will be nights when the usual images do not help. In those times, be honest without performance. Say, I cannot feel. I do not force a smile. This plainness is sacred. Tears may come. Let them come. They are not a sign of failure. They are a kind of prayer. Let the body move with them. A towel or soft cloth can bring dignity to the moment. I give a short reading now that paraphrases a promise of near presence. It does not speak in abstract theology. It paints the scene of a friend who stays close when the road grows dark. The friend does not demand a bright response. The friend listens with a steady ear. There is patience in that listening, and a kind of mercy that keeps its place. Stay with that image for a breath. If memory of past seasons brings guilt, separate the memory from judgment. Memory is not destiny. It is raw material that can be reshaped. Place it gently beside the lamp. It needs a frame that is small and kind. The mind can look and then set down. The act of setting down is prayer without words. A useful practice is to name one small thing to do tomorrow. Not a long list. One gentle aim. It can be as simple as stepping outside for 2 minutes of air or making a single cup of tea. The mind that knows a small plan rests more readily than the mind that imagines endless undone tasks. Make the aim small and tender. It is a promise to care, not a burden. I speak also of hope as patience. Hope is not always a surge. It can be a steady ember. Keep it near. Let the ember warm a single finger. That warmth may be enough for now. Hope remembers that the story continues. Even when a page seems blank, hold to that memory. It is not flashy. It is faithful. Prayers in this hour need not be long. A single sentence will do. Stay near, or help me rest, or hold this ache. Keep words simple. The posture of the body will carry the rest. Place hands in the lap. Let the neck soften. Eyes may close. Quiet becomes a form of listening that is active and sacred. If the mind returns to worry, bring it back without reproach. Think of a garden and a hand that returns to it each morning to water a single plant. The gardener does not scold the plant for being slow. The gardener returns, so the mind can return to prayers and images without harshness. Gentle repetition is a faithful practice. Before closing this section, I read a short paraphrase of a passage that says mercy finds the small and the lost. The thought is simple. Smallness does not exclude worth. The passage imagines a steady gaze that rests on the least and the frail. Let that gaze fall on the listener now. Allow it to be imagined as kind, not demanding. As this part comes to rest, take one last slow breath. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold for 2. Exhale to the count of 6. Feel the shoulders drift down. Notice the weight in the limbs. The room is quiet. The lamp keeps a soft circle of light. The Bible lies open, patient for the next turn of the page. I do not promise the fog will lift before morning, but I do speak a hope that presence continues. The next reading will be a passage chosen for its plain comfort. It will be slow and soft. For now, let the body settle. Let the heart accept company where words are thin. Let the night keep its gentle watch. When ready, allow the eyes to close. Rest in the thought that the distance felt tonight is only a season. The ground beneath promises a coming morning. The next part will take up a passage that names that promise in tender images. For now, breathe. Be held, and remember that being distant is not being abandoned. I ask you now to stay here with the present. The night is thin and steady. The breath is a small metronome. The body has already begun to listen. This part is simple. It leans into the small room of now. Start with one slow breath. Feel the air move in. Notice the tiny change at the tip of the nose. Notice the chest rise. Let the out-breath be longer. Let it carry away one small worry. Not every worry, just the nearest one. That act alone makes a place for calm. I speak quietly into that space. The Bible I hold has a line that has helped many who feel a pull toward what is beyond the moment. It says, "The soul sometimes longs, like a dry land longs for rain." Picture that longing as honest and human. Picture it without shame. The image helps. It makes the desire clear and tender. It names a hunger, so it can be met. Grounding with the senses is useful now. Choose one sense and bring soft attention to it. Ears, listen. There is a distant hum of the house. Maybe a clock. Maybe the sound of a car far off. Let those sounds be like ships passing in deep water. They do not demand a reply. They simply pass. Touch. Rest a hand on the chest. Feel. Rest a hand on the thigh. Notice the weight. If fabric brushes the skin, notice that small sensation. The body is a map of tiny signals. Follow one with gentle curiosity. Sight, let the eyes soften. Unfocus a little. Allow the edges of things to blur. The lamp's light becomes a safe pool rather than a spotlight. The blur is kind. It makes the room less sharp. Smell, breathe in. If there is a scent of tea, laundry, or night air, let it arrive without making stories about it. Smell is often memory's shorthand. Let it stand alone. Taste if the mouth holds something of flavor. Notice it. If not, Imagine the taste of cool water. Picture the sensation slowly. The image can calm a restless mind. The present is not a mandate. It is a room offered. Step into it as one might cross a threshold. No rush. No urgency. The heart finds its way when motion is gentle. A short practice can help. Name 3 small things in the present that are true. Say them quietly in the mind. Keep them plain. A cup on the table. A steady lamp. A breath that did not rush. Each small truth is like a stone placed in a river. They steady the current. Another soft practice is gratitude pared down to a single line. Pick 1 mild goodness from the day. It need not be a triumph. Maybe a cup of tea that did not spill. Maybe a kind word received. Maybe a small task completed. Hold that one thing for a moment. Let it sit like a token on the palm. I remind the listener that longing and presence can live together. Psalm words about thirst for God matter here, because they hold both ache and hope. Thirst does not mean absence of care. It marks attention. The psalm pictures a deep wanting that is honest before God. That honesty is welcomed. It is not a failure, it is an opening. To long is to acknowledge need, and need is a doorway. A gentle imagination helps. Picture a shallow bowl of water on a low table. The bowl catches a little light. If hands are worn or tired, dip the fingertips into the water. Notice the coolness. Imagine the water as an answer that is not loud, but faithful. The gesture is small. The meaning can be large for the heart. If the mind rushes toward tomorrow, hold a practical boundary. Tell tomorrow that it can wait for now. Make a tiny plan instead. Choose one small thing to carry into the morning. It could be to walk outside for 2 minutes, to set out a glass of water, or to send a short note. A small plan calms the mind meant for solving. It gives the problem a place to live so the present can breathe. Physical ritual can also be kind. Fold the hands, or place a palm on the heart. Make a small sign of a blessing across the brow. Not as performance, but as a repeating motion the body recognizes. These gestures are like a lullaby for the muscles that hold worry. They do not require eloquence. They only require return. I read now, softly, a paraphrase of a short biblical encouragement. It speaks of a steady presence that invites us to bring what we cannot hold. The call is simple. It invites honesty. The invitation does not demand polished words. It leans toward those who are tired and offers to carry what they cannot. Let the phrase land without argument. Let it be a quiet shelter. Sleep often requires release. Release is not forgetting. It is a choice to set down a burden for a season. Imagine placing burdens on a chair. See each one set down carefully. They do not disappear, but they are not pressed into the sleeping body. The act of setting down is itself an act of trust. The night becomes a place where the soul and the body can let go for a little while. Music can be a companion in this letting go. A single note hummed under the breath can make a tether to the present. Hum slowly. Follow the breath. The tune need not be exact. The vibration is what matters. The body recognizes rhythm in a way the mind sometimes resists. If shame or regret comes into the room, Meet it without sharpness. Speak one kind sentence inwardly. I am held in the messy places. The line is small. It does not explain away what happened. It places a soft hand over the heat of the past. Mercy often starts by simply staying near the broken place. I encourage a moment of imagining presence as warmth at the shoulder. Picture someone sitting quietly beside. There is no need for words. The shoulder warmth is an emblem of vigilance that does not insist on being noticed. Let the body receive that warmth. Allow the chest to accept it like a warmed cloth. A simple breath prayer may help. Choose a short phrase such as, "Stay near" or "Help me rest." Breathe the phrase inward on the inhale. Release it on the exhale. Repeat without doing mental gymnastics over the meaning. The rhythm matters more than the content. The breath makes the words real. When thoughts intrude, welcome them briefly. Name the thought a worry about work, a memory of a harsh word, a question that has no easy answer. Then return attention to the chosen anchor. The mind will wander. That is its job. The practice is the gentle return. I remind the listener that longing for God, as the psalm pictures, is not a failure to be fixed quickly. It is a human posture. It can be tender, like a child reaching for a parent in the night. The reaching itself is enough to be met. There is no need to measure the outcome tonight. A small habit helps the transition to sleep. Before closing the eyes, say one short sentence of thanks. It need not be elaborate. Thank for one safe thing. Thank for one small mercy in the day. The sentence acts like a bookmark. It marks the night with gratitude and creates a soft hinge between wakefulness and rest. If tears come, let them flow. Tears are not proofs of weakness. They are water releasing pressure. Treat them like rain on a roof. The sound is natural and steady. Wipe the face gently. Breathe. Keep the posture of gentleness. As the body settles, allow the imagination to picture morning as a patient friend who will arrive in time. The image is not a promise of immediate fix, but a reminder that the story continues. Sleep is part of that continuity. The night does work that the day cannot. I will read next a short passage that paraphrases the Psalm's longing for the living presence. It will be slow. It will use quiet images. After the reading, there will be space long enough for a few breaths. That space is not empty. It is a place where what is heard becomes part of the body. Before I move to that passage, make one small physical adjustment. Turn the face toward a light that feels right. Shift the hands to a place that rests. Let the shoulders soften by a fraction. These small moves matter. They are acts of care performed for the sleeping body. One last invitation in this moment. Imagine a slender line of light, stretching from the heart outward like a seam. It is not bright. It is a gentle thread. Let it connect to the rest of the room, to the lamp, to the book on the table. The thread holds the shape of the present. Feel that seam. Let the heart rest against it. Now take a breath counted slowly. Inhale for 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Repeat once. Keep the eyes soft. Keep the jaw loose. Allow the mind to float on the breath. The reading will continue in the same voice. The coming passage will speak of longing met, and of patience that does not scold. Rest here a moment longer, then open to the next small word. I sit with the book once more. The night keeps a gentle hush. Breath comes steady. The room stays small and safe. In this hour, a different feeling may rise. Anger can be sharp. Rage can knock at the door. It arrives like a sudden wind. It demandes attention. First, name the feeling. Say it softly in the mind. Rage, heat, tightness. Naming gives shape. Shape makes a place to begin. The sensation is real. It is allowed to be real. Allowing does not mean acting. Allowing means keeping company without becoming the feeling. Feel where the rage lives in the body. Is it a tightness in the throat, a clench across the ribs, a heat behind the eyes? Notice, without judging. Hold the spot with attention, as one might hold a small injured bird. The attention itself soothes. Breathe into the place. Inhale slow. Count to 4. Hold a beat. Exhale to 6. Let the out-breath carry away a little of the tightness. Repeat. The rhythm is simple. The rhythm is kind. I read a line from the teachings that asks us to set aside tomorrow's burdens. It says simply, do not let tomorrow steal today. The warning is tender. It invites trust for the present hour. Tomorrow will come, and it will ask its own questions. For now, the task is to stay with what is immediate. This is not avoidance. It is a wise ordering of care. Rage often comes from feeling unsafe, from loss, from unmet expectations. It can be a guardian. It is not always wrong. Yet rage left unchecked becomes a chain. The chain binds sleep and softens mercy. Tonight, the work is to meet rage with truth and gentleness. Begin with a small ritual of setting the weight down. Find a scrap of paper, or imagine one. Write one short line, the hurt that sits heavy. Keep the line brief. Fold the paper. Place it on a low surface. Say, in the mind, the thought of letting it rest here for a while. The action is symbolic. The paper holds what burns. Next, offer the weight up, not as a dismissal of reality, not as a refusal to remember harm. It is an offering that says, I cannot carry this alone through the night. Imagine lifting the folded paper and placing it into a slow stream. Watch the paper float without forcing it. The stream moves steady and kind. The image is an honest gesture toward release. Forgiveness follows a gentle arc. Start with the smallest step, a willingness to consider letting go. Willingness is not forgetting. It is refusing the loneliness of a grudge. It is a small opening of the fist. Define forgiveness in clear terms. Forgiveness is choosing not to feed the injury with new hatred. It is accepting that the past exists, but will not be reenacted every hour. It is an act that frees the heart more than it changes the past. This freedom is for the one who forgives, as much as for the one forgiven. There is a useful, short practice for forgiving others. Picture the person who hurt. Keep the image simple. See them as a face, not a full story. Say one honest sentence Inwardly, the hurt I felt was real. Then, say a second sentence, I give this pain to a larger care. The second line is an offering. It asks for help, to carry what cannot be carried alone. Forgiving the self asks for tenderness. Shame can be loud and cruel. Begin by naming one misstep without embellishment. State it plainly. Admit it is part of a larger life. Then place the hand on the heart. Let the warmth of the palm meet the ache. Tell the self, in a quiet voice of the mind, I am not only my mistake, mercy is nearer than the harsh verdict. Confession here is brief and private. It is not a litany. It is a shorthanding over, say the truth of the wrong. Offer a simple request for help to live differently. The words need not be polished. They only need to be honest. Honesty invites repair. I read now, slowly and plainly, a paraphrase of a teaching that calls for a daily trust. It says, do not be anxious about tomorrow. Each day has its own portion of care. Live within today's measure. The teaching leans toward the present. It does not promise there will be no trouble. It promises a way to meet trouble without carrying tomorrow's load. Let that thought land softly. Trusting today means practical tasks. Choose one small act to do tomorrow that will help what now feels broken. It might be a phone call, a short walk, a note to oneself, a cup of tea made and set down with intention. Keep the task tiny. The point is a single stitch of hope, not an obligation. A small plan steadies the intrusive mind. When rage feels like a burning coal, there is also room for honest lament. Lament is a saying of truth to God. It is not a demand for immediate change. It is a bearing of pain into presence. Speak a short lament in the mind, this hurts. I cannot fix it now. Hold the lament as one would hold a lit candle protective. Steady. Not destructive. Allow images of tenderness to meet the heat. Imagine warm hands at the shoulders. Imagine a cool cloth pressed to the brow. The contrast soothes. The mind does not have to do the work alone. Presence can be imagined and received. If anger has created words that cannot be retrieved, consider a symbolic gesture of repair. Write a short note, not to be sent, but to be read and then burned or torn. The act is not a performance. It is a release. Watching the paper change, frees the hands that once held the grievance. Forgiveness is slow. It is not a flip of a switch. It moves in seasons. Sometimes forgiveness will arrive in a small, unexpected pliability in the chest. Sometimes it comes decades later. The presence offered in prayer witnesses that slowness, the patient care of the night, tends the tender places. There is power in naming the boundary between forgiveness and forgetting. Forgiveness does not require putting oneself back into harm's way. It can accompany distance, with protection, and necessary limits. Saying yes to forgiveness does not mean yes to repeat injury. The two can coexist. I invite a short breath prayer now. Choose a brief phrase, help me let go, or hold my anger. On the inhale, take the phrase inward. On the exhale, release the phrase into stillness. Repeat without fuss for several cycles. The cadence calms the nervous system and gives language to what the heart cannot form. Seek presence in a small way. Turn the palms upward. Rest them on the knees. Feel gravity. Let the posture say, I am open to being held. Offer a simple image, a steady lantern, set down beside the road. It keeps watch. It does not rush the traveler. It is patient company. Trust and forgiveness meet in the present, when the heart allows mercy to be practiced in small acts. Mercy begins with not adding more damage. It continues with an inner willingness to be released from carrying every injury as identity. If regret arises as a companion to rage, answer it with one small reparative step. Apologize where possible and safe. Repair what can be mended when repair is impossible. Practice releasing the need for immediate fix. Acceptance can be a form of deep repair for the soul. Music can ease the transition from heat to cool. A single slow hymn line hummed under the breath steadies the chest. Keep the note low. Let the vibration move through the rib cage. The body recognizes rhythm where words falter. As the hour leans toward sleep, imagine setting a heavy stone on a doorstep. The stone is the day's burden. Place it down. Take a step back. Breathe. The step back is an act of faith. It says the stone need not be carried through the night. I will read a passage shortly that reminds us not to take tomorrow's troubles onto tonight's shoulders. The reading will not press theology, but will speak into the everyday. It will offer the steady thought trust, today for today. Let that idea breathe a little space into the heart. Before the reading, make one small movement that signals rest. Roll the shoulders quietly. Soften the jaw. Let the hands open slowly. The body accepts a rest with small gestures. These are acts of mercy toward the flesh. Forgiveness is offered now as an invitation. It is not a command. It is an opening handed across the small table of the night. If acceptance comes, take it. If not, remain open to the possibility for another evening. Mercy is patient. End with a short blessing in the mind. May anger be known and met. May the heart find ways to unburden. May a simple trust in today loosen the grip of tomorrow's fear. May forgiveness begin in small steps. To free the one who forgives, take one more measured breath. Inhale to 4. Hold to 2. Exhale to 6. Let the shoulders slide down. Let the face soften. The next passage waits with quiet images and an invitation to rest. When the voice returns, the words will be slow and close to the ear. For now, sit with the breathing. Allow the night to do its careful work. I sit with the Bible open and the lamp low. The page breathes under my hand. Tonight, I bring a quiet word about grace. I speak of forgiveness and of the strange freedom that follows when a heart lets go. The voice stays soft. The room listens. Grace begins as a gift. It arrives without demand. It is not something earned by deeds or clever words. It is given. Think of a cloak placed over shoulders that are cold and tired. The cloak does not ask for a reason. It only warms. That image helps. It makes grace simple and near. There is a teaching I hold in my mind as we sit. It says that forgiving others opens the way to being forgiven. I do not quote the line exactly. I only carry its shape. It asks that mercy be answered with mercy. It holds the thought that forgiving is not merely a favor to the other person. It is an act that loosens the chains around the one who forgives. Forgiveness often feels impossible. A wound can be deep. Anger can flare like a sudden wind. Yet to forgive is not to pretend the hurt never happened. It is not to invite the same harm again. Forgiveness is a choice to stop feeding the pain with fresh heat. It is a small, steady act of handing the burden to a larger care. The burden does not vanish at once, but its weight changes hands. Picture a narrow path with two travelers. One carries a pack of stones. Each stone a memory of harm. The other carries a bundle of cloth grace, folded and warm. To begin forgiving is not to take the stones and put them on the other traveler. It is to set them down, one, by the roadside. The act of setting them down is an act of grace towards oneself. The road remains. The night remains. The step forward is lighter. Grace is surprising. It comes where it is not merited. It breaks the ledger that keeps counting every slight and every failure. The ledger offers a false security. It says worth is balanced by deeds. Grace says worth is given. This truth does not make wrong small. It simply makes love larger than the wrong. I speak softly about how forgiveness and grace meet. When a person forgives, space opens inside. The heart breathes differently. Old anger no longer feeds the nighttime mind. Sleep comes with fewer sharp edges. The practice is not magic. It is not a trick to erase pain. It is a sober act that reorders the heart. The effort often falls into small, répétables motions. Begin with a small gesture. Take a scrap of paper. Write one word that names the hurt. Keep it brief. Fold the paper. Place it on a low table. Look at it for a breath. Then lift the paper and hand it to the care that is greater than the wound. Speak a short inward sentence. I place this here. Let the breath carry the sentence. The motion is simple. The meaning is wide. Forgiveness is also a daily habit. It does not always happen in a single moment. Sometimes it returns like a tide. Once the choice is made, reminders come. The memory surfaces. The anger returns. Each time, choose again. Choose the small offering, or team. The repeated choice softens the hardness around the wound. Grace works in the pattern of returning care. Forgiving the self is part of this same grace. Self-accusation can be fierce. It can replay the darkest scenes on a loop. To forgive oneself is to sit with that loop and speak a different truth to it. Name the failure without embellishment. Offer one small correction where possible. Then say a short word of mercy inwardly. Place a hand on the chest and stay with the pulse. That pulse is proof of life. Grace meets life in its messiest places. There is a helpful distinction to keep. Forgiveness does not demand immediate reconciliation. Reconciliation may be healthy and right in time. It may not be safe or wise now. Forgiveness can exist with boundaries. One can forgive and still choose wise distance. Forgiveness heals the forgiver first. It does not necessarily make the past friendly. The liberating power of forgiveness also shows in daily peace. When a grudging ledger is set aside, sleep deepens. The mind does not rehearse insults as easily. The body can rest from the constant readiness to retaliate. The nervous system stops riding a tight wire. The quiet that follows is not an absence of memory. It is the easing of a held breath. I read a short paraphrase in my mind of the teaching that asks us to forgive as we are forgiven. It frames forgiveness as a mirror. When mercy is extended to another, mercy reflects back. The mirror is not bargaining. It is a simple reciprocity that frees both parties in different ways. The thought is tender and grave at once. It asks for courage and offers relief. Practical steps help the practice become real. First, name the person or the hurt. Keep the naming short. Do not rehearse the whole story. One clear line is enough. Second, make an offering. It can be a breath prayer, a word or two breathed in, breathed out. Third, set a small boundary if needed. Forgiveness does not mean permission for harm to continue. Fourth, return to the choice when the memory stirs. The pattern of returning is itself a form of grace. Breath helps. Breathe in slow. Hold a beat. Breathe out longer. On the out-breath, say the short phrase, release this. Repeat. The rhythm becomes a lullaby for the tense parts of the body that hold grievance. The diaphragm relaxes. The jaw unclenches. The chest softens a little with each cycle. Grace has a face. Sometimes it looks like a quiet friend who does not interrupt. Sometimes it looks like a steady hand on the shoulder that does not require speech. Imagine such a hand now. Feel its presence as a light warmth. The warmth does not hurry the healing. It keeps vigil. Mercy often arrives in small acts. A shared coffee. A letter left unsigned. A phone call that never presses. These are small stitches. They mend what was torn slowly. They do not demand dramatic scenes. They quietly reweave trust where it can be reweaved. I also speak of the hard tenderness of refusing to retaliate when provoked by memory. The urge to answer in kind is human. Pause before the answer. Let a second pass. The gap creates space for the better choice. In that breath, grace can be chosen. The moment is not empty. It becomes a hinge. If forgiveness feels impossible because harm was great, start smaller. Forgive one small detail about the person or the situation. Perhaps forgive that they were ignorant in a particular way. Perhaps forgive that they acted from fear. The small forgivings are not false. They are entry points. The accumulation of small mercies can become the way forward. Self-forgiveness benefits from concrete repair, where possible. If there is a chance to make amends, take it. A short apology, a corrected action, a restoration of what can be restored. These do not erase the past. They show the present has learned when repair is not possible. Practice the act of letting go as a spiritual discipline. Place the regret in a palm and say, I release this to larger mercy. The teaching I carry also warns gently against keeping score. Scorekeeping hardens the heart. It creates a ledger that becomes identity. The line of mercy invites an unmaking of that ledger. It does so not to ignore justice, but to find a way for the heart to live without the heavy accounting. Grace invites trust. It asks that the heart believe in abundance rather than scarcity. If forgiveness is given, there is more to be received. The heart that forgives finds itself less likely to be hollowed by bitterness. Something else grows a capacity to love in new ways. The growth is slow and often quiet. It looks like steadier sleep, softer speech, a longer patience with the self and with others. I offer a short practice to carry into the night. Close the eyes. Picture a small lamp held in the hands. See its light spread over the palms. In that light place the named hurt, symbolically. And imagine the light warming the wound. Do not force the wound to vanish. Simply allow the warmth. Whisper internally. A single sentence grace meets this. Breathe that line in and out 3 times. If tears come, allow them. Tears are water that washes. They are not failure. They are a language the body uses when words are scarce. Let the face be gentle. Wipe it with care. Say a soft sentence of thanks for the release. Keep in mind that grace returns to the giver too. When kindness is chosen in the place of retaliation, the heart is relieved. That relief is a sign of grace. At work, it does not mean the pain is suddenly healed. It means the weight begins to move. As I close this part, I read softly from memory a line that frames forgiveness as a condition of receiving mercy. It asks only that mercy be mirrored. The thought is neither legalistic nor punitive. It is a gentle nudge back to a rhythm of love. Mercy met by mercy keeps the circle moving. Before I turn the page, place the hands in a resting position. Feel the contact with the fabric. Notice the steady cadence of the breathing. Offer one short prayer. In the heart may grace find the places that feel closed. May forgiveness begin by small steps. May sleep hold the loosened breath. There will be another passage soon. It will speak of grace in images, a river slow and wide, a field that receives seed, a hand that does not tally debts. For now, stay with the lamp and the slow breath. Let the gift of grace settle like a soft cloth over the shoulders. Let the mind accept the possibility that releasing the burden may be the very way it learns to rest. Take one more measured breath with me. Inhale for 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Let the shoulders fall. Let the jaw soften. The next part waits with quiet words that will continue this slow work. When I speak again, the reading will be gentle and exact. For tonight, let the grace that is offered be enough to steady the heart. I sit with the Bible open again. The lamp throws a calm circle across the page. The room keeps its quiet. Breath moves slow and steady. My hand rests on the margin, as if to steady both the book and the moment. Tonight I speak of love, not the kind that flares and leaves smoke. The kind that stays, the kind that comes close, without demand. It is a patient presence. It softens hard edges. A passage I hold in my mind tells of a love that gives more than it takes. It names a gift that cannot be earned by lists of good deeds. The passage places the gift into the hands of the one who trusts. It says simply that this gift arrives because of grace, and not because of any tally of work done. That thought is quiet and kind. It frees the heart from constant accounting. Imagine a small room with a warm hearth. The flame does not roar. It simply keeps heat. The room is not large. It is enough. A blanket rests on a chair. The blanket is not a reward. It is there to be used. No one asks for proof to wrap it around shoulders. The heart that receives the blanket does not have to explain itself first. That image is the shape of divine love, as I read it here. Love as comfort arrives in soft ways. Sometimes it is a lowered voice. Sometimes it is a hand placed without speech. Sometimes it is the steady blinking of a lighthouse through fog. Each small sign does the same thing. It declares that the traveler is not alone. The night may be long. The light keeps watch. I invite a simple practice. Rest a palm over the heart. Feel the warmth beneath the hand. Inhale with a sense that the hand is a container. Exhale and imagine that warmth spreading into the tight places. Do this slowly, 2 or 3 breaths. The action is physical. It gives the mind something gentle to attend to. Comfort is not a quick fix. It is a steady tending. The Bible speaks in images of shelter and shade. It also speaks of being held through seasons that refuse to hurry. This love waits beside sorrow. It does not lecture. It does not require a perfect response. It sits with the ache and keeps vigil. Sometimes the mind imagines love as something that must be earned by proving worth. The passage I remember counters that with a tender insistence. Worth is not a ledger. It is a reality given. The phrase is simple. Acceptance comes as a gift. Receiving it asks only for faith, not for a record of works. The thought eases the exhaustions that come from trying to justify existence by effort alone. Think of a child who falls asleep at a parent's side. The child does not perform for love. The child is simply held. The parent's arm holds without a contract. The arm's warmth is not conditional on a long list of good behavior. That ordinary, domestic image is the kind of comfort I keep in mind as I read. It is small and true and enough. There is also a sense of community in this love. The Bible presents the faithful not as solitary figures, but as a gathered people. Their stories intersect. Support comes not only from the unseen, but through one another. In this quiet hour, imagine a circle of gentle hands, each one ready to hold a neighbor's elbow for a moment. The hands do not judge. They steady. If the night brings fear, imagine an anchor set deep under water. The ship may sway, wind may push. The anchor does not promise still sea. It promises steadiness beneath motion. That image helps when worry spins in the mind. The love spoken of in the pages below is like that anchor. It holds in ways eyes cannot see. Comfort often reaches in the form of forgiveness. I do not mean a grand absolution announced loudly. I mean a soft release of burdens that have been carried too long. When a person hands a worn pack down by the roadside, their shoulders relax a degree. The act of handing over is itself comfort. It lightens the night. There is also a practical softness to this love. It shows in simple rules for a weary life. Rest when tired. Eat when hungry. Speak truth when it is needed and keep silence when speech would only fuel a fire. These ordinary cares are part of a larger tenderness. They remind that love sometimes looks like common sense done with care. I offer a short breath prayer now. Breathe in with the thought that love is near. Breathe out with the thought that love holds. Repeat twice. The rhythm is small. The words are not arguments. They are tiny tethers that bring wandering thoughts back to the present warmth. Memory can make the heart brittle. Past hurts keep their edges. The heart may think that love will always return to the same pattern of hurt. The present reading counters that with images of healing gardens. Wounds may leave scars. The garden still grows. New shoots emerge. The past does not have the final vote over future green. Love tends what is broken. It plants again. When worry mounts, I encourage a simple inventory. Name 3 things in the room that are steady. A clock's soft tick, the lamp's unchanging glow, the book's comforting weight. Each small item reminds the mind that continuity exists, even when emotions sway. These small anchors are part of love's support. Comfort also comes through a sure promise that rest is allowed. Sleep is not negligence. It is a healing act. The Bible images that I hold suggest that rest is part of the created order. The work of night is to mend what day frays. Accepting sleep is accepting care. The act of surrendering to sleep is not a failure. It is a wise response. Sometimes support comes from another's silence. The presence of a friend who sits without trying to fix or explain is a rare mercy. The person who simply keeps vigil communicates the same message. Love communicates, I am here. In the dark, that message carries weight. It steadies the pulse. Gentleness toward oneself is also an effect of this love. The inward voice that accuses can be softened. Replace sharp words with kinder observations. Where the inner critic says harsh things, speak a calmer truth. Do not attempt to erase error. Offer a steady line, mistakes happened, but the heart remains worthy of care. The voice of love reminds that being flawed is not being beyond tenderness. Sometimes love supports through limits. Protecting oneself may mean stepping back from a relationship or a situation. Boundaries are not the opposite of love. They can be its instrument. A garden is fenced, not to exclude, but to safeguard tender shoots. When the heart needs margin, setting, it is a loving act. There is also quiet courage in trusting this love. Faith is not always a sensation. Sometimes it is a posture. It is a choice to rest in a truth that does not require immediate feeling. The passage about gift and grace suggests that receiving is part of trusting. To accept mercy is to allow the heart to be less vigilant for a while. The choice to rest is itself a small act of courage. If doubts come, let them be companions rather than judges. Doubt can ask questions that deepen rather than shallow faith. Bring the doubts into the light of the lamp. Let them sit on the table. See them for what they are, part of the mind's work to understand. Do not let them dictate whether comfort is permissible. Allow comfort in spite of question. A useful image for nights of heavy thought is a slow river. The water moves beneath the surface and keeps the banks stable. Rocks do not shoot up from the current without cause. The stream's motion is steady and patient. Let the mind imagine laying its burdens into the river. Watch them float without forcing their path. This is not erasing responsibility. It is giving weight to a care larger than one person can hold. I read now in my mind another gentle reminder from the passages. The note is not a sermon. It is a quiet assurance that love rests near the broken heart. It invites an acceptance of that nearness. It encourages rest as a form of trust. The sentences land like soft rain. A nightly practice may help the comfort settle. Before sleep, say one short sentence of thanksgiving. It may be for a small mercy, a page turned without pain, a friend's small kindness, a hot drink that did not spill. Let the sentence be small and true. The act of thanks places a marker of grace on the day. If tears come in this hour, welcome them as part of the process. Tears are not proof of failure. They are a language of release. Treat them like rain on a roof. Let them be heard. Wipe them gently. Allow the body to express what words cannot hold. Comfort deepens when it is shared. If safe, reach out tomorrow. A note, a small word, a brief call. The act of connecting extends the circle of support. The night's acceptance can become a morning's plan. Remember that love often works through ordinary hands. As I prepare to turn the page to the next passage, I place a brief pause between the lines. The pause is not empty. It is a space for the images to sink in. Breathe with me once more. Inhale slowly. Hold the breath for a soft beat. Exhale fully and imagine the warmth of love spreading like a blanket over the shoulders. I will read next a passage that echoes this comfort in another set of images. It will speak of being kept, of being held, of a kindness that does not demand repayment. For now, let the lamp's circle of light be enough. Let the hand on the heart feel the pulse. Let sleep be welcomed when it arrives. May this night offer a small harbor. May the heart find a place to moor. However briefly, may the knowledge of love come not as a burden of proof, but as the relief of a hand placed without condition. Rest in that thought. When the voice returns, it will guide a short listening to a reading that simply keeps company with the weary. I open the Bible again. The lamp spills a calm circle. Outside the night breathes steady. Inside the room, a different sound rises. It is the sound of storms remembered. The word storm names many things. Illness, loss, fear that comes like wind, a job loss, a relationship torn, small shocks, big wreckage. All of these can feel like weather that will not end. I do not pretend the storms are not real. They are real. They hit bones and nerves. They press on sleep. They make the chest tight. Naming the storm is the first mercy. Say the name silently. Say illness. Say grief. Say loneliness. The voice that names frees the part that holds the trouble. Naming does not solve. It makes the trouble visible. Then the trouble can be met more kindly. I read from memory a passage that gives a strong promise about love that holds through everything. It does not read like a tidy promise. It reads like a steady fact. No power can undo it. No depth can take it. No height can remove it. Nothing present or future cuts it loose. I do not say this as a clever formula. I say it as a small but firm truth to rest upon tonight. Picture a small boat on a wide sea. The boat rocks. Waves lift and drop. Wind drives spray. The traveller clutches the rail. In the boat sits an anchor that is not pretty but is sure. The anchor drops. The chain groans. The boat steadies. The wind stills the mind a little. The anchor does not stop the sea from being what it is. It makes the journey less perilous. Think of love as this anchor. It does not prevent every storm. It keeps the soul from being swept away. I keep the images plain. The Bible I read uses similar images of strong love and sure keeping. I paraphrase those images softly into the room. The voice that hears is invited to receive the shapes. No argument, no long proof, just the picture of an anchor dropped into deep water and a hand that holds steady. If the storm feels like noise in the head, try this small practice. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Place a palm low on the belly. Breathe in as if the air is a gentle tide. Let the belly rise. Breathe out like the tide moving back. Count slowly. 4 in, 2 hold, 6 out. The count does not chase away the storm. It gives the nervous system a calmer measure. The body notices the rhythm and begins to follow. The mind, in time, steadies. Another practice is to map the weather on a small paper. Write the elements of the storm, 1 line each. Keep them short. Name the hurt. Fold the paper. Lay it beside the lamp. The act of writing is not dramatic. It is practical. It moves what is inside into a place where it can be seen. The fold says this is present. It can be visited again. It does not have to live inside the chest all night. I speak of shelter now. Imagine shelters matter. Picture a small cottage set into a rock face. The door is low. Inside, peat smoke curls slow. A kettle hums. The world outside rages a little less. The shelter is not a denial of the storm. It is protection within it. The Bible gives this kind of image again and again. Shelters are practical and tender. They hold the worn. When helplessness rises, hold a short prayer in the mind. A 1-sentence prayer is enough. Stay near. Help me steady. Give rest. The prayer is not a sermon. It is a breath kept at the throat. Breathe the line with the inhale. Release it with the exhale. Quiet repetition is a soft rope of faith pulled across the night. Sometimes the storm is a long one. It does not break in a single night. For these seasons, small rhythms matter more than sweeping promises. Choose 3 small acts for the next day. A cup of warm tea at morning. A short walk. A note sent to one friend. Keep the list tiny. The mind that carries a small plan sleeps better than the mind that attempts to solve everything at once. When fear sweeps in, place attention on the feet. Feel the contact. The floor presses back. The simple sense of weight is grounding. Name 3 solid things in the room. A table, the lamp, The book in the lap. These small facts anchor the thinking to the present. The storm still blusters, but the mind has a few fixed points to return to. I do not present avoidance as wisdom. Storms call for action sometimes. If practical steps are needed in the morning, write them down as a quiet list. If help is required, make one phone call. Help need not be dramatic to be effective. Small, sensible moves steady the hand. There is a truth that can be dangerous. When spoken carelessly, comfort does not erase pain. Comfort sits with pain. It tends it. I say this because some nights comfort feels like a thin salve. The work of healing is slower. It moves in small gains. The promise of unending love does not make pain vanish overnight. It supports the slow repair. Think of a field after a storm. Bent stalks, mud on the path. Yet seeds are still in the ground. Owatim. Light returns. That image is not flippant. It offers patient hope. The storm is not the whole story. The field survives. Water has done some good, even if it has been harsh. If anger rises along with the wind, keep the breath steady. Name the anger briefly, then ask, silently, what would a kind response look like in this moment? Kindness does not mean passivity. It means choosing what preserves rather than destroys. The wise response may be a boundary. The wise response may be speaking truth. The wise response may be silence. Decide gently. When the storm threatens memory, hold a single image of safety. A steady hand, a warm cloth. The steady hand does not have to be visible. Now, it can be imagined. That imagining is not pretending. It is relying on a reality promised in the scriptures, a love that holds in every place. I say this as comfort, not theology. The mind needs a solid thought to rest on. Music helps. A low hymn hummed under the breath settles the chest. Sing quietly, if that feels right. Or play a single slow tune. The vibration moves the body in ways words cannot. Let the tune be simple. Let it be repeated. Repetition is a gentle anchor in windy minds. If grief arrives like rain that does not stop, allow the rain to move through. Tears matter. They are a body's river. Do not judge them. Wipe them with care. Place a warm cloth on the forehead. If it comforts, small comforts are the night's medicine. For those who carry guilt in a storm, practice a simple adult ritual. Write an admission. State one correction you can make tomorrow. Promise a small act of repair. The list must be tiny to be kept. Then offer the rest to the love that does not tally every failing. The act of handing over is not a coward's move. It is an honest, practical step toward living. If worry of the future grows teeth, keep to the present measurement. Each day has its own weight. The body cannot carry every tomorrow at once. Tell tomorrow to wait for its proper hour. Right now, tend what is at hand. Feed this moment as a gardener tends one plant. The practice is not magical. It is sensible and merciful. Community matters in storms. A single, trusted person can be a harbor. If safe, reach out tomorrow. A short message, a small ask. The storm shrinks a little when shared. If reaching out feels impossible, practice the image of hands around the shoulder. Imagine them steadying you. The heart receives the steadying, even if no call is made. I read a short passage in my mind about the constancy of love. It is a strong and sober line about how nothing in the order of creation can pull the cords of that love apart. I repeat the thought slowly within the room. It is not a proof against trouble. It is an assurance for the traveler. Repeat it once more in a soft interior voice. Nothing can separate from this love. The sentence rests like a stone in the pocket. In time it is felt. When nighttime opens, make a small ritual for sleep. Set the lamp low. Lay the folded paper of worries by the bedside. Place a glass of water within reach. Say a single gentle prayer inwardly. Keep watch. Let the prayer be brief. Let it be practical. The body recognizes these small acts as care. If the mind pulls to the loud corners of the storm, redirect it with a breathing phrase. Breathe in steady. Breathe out, I am held. The phrase is not a theological argument. It is a tether. Repeat for a few cycles until the chest loosens. I end this part with a simple benediction in my thoughts. May peace come amid the wind. May the anchor of love hold firm. May small acts of care meet the practical needs of tomorrow. May courage rise like a quiet light. May sleep, when it comes, find the traveler not alone. The page lies open. The lamp keeps its low circle. The next passage will speak of a promise that follows through hardship. It will not preach. It will keep company. For now, let the breath slow. Let the shoulders fall. Let the thought of an unbreakable love rest like an anchor in the heart. When I speak again, the reading will unfold that promise in gentle images and small, steady words. I sit with the book on my lap. The lamp keeps its soft circle. Outside, the night breathes slow. Inside, the room listens. Tonight, I close my eyes for a moment and picture a small boat on rough water. In the story I read earlier, the one about a sudden storm, the waves press hard against a frail hull. Fear sharpens. Hands find the rail. A voice speaks into the chaos, and the wind eases. The sea air grows quiet. The change is simple and sure. Calm comes not by force, but by presence. The presence brings rest. I do not retell the passage as a lecture. I let its shape sit in the room. The image of wind stilled, and the sea made quiet holds something tender. It shows that peace can arrive in the middle of noise. It does not promise that storms never come. It promises a way to be safe inside them. With that thought in the mind, I fold the page gently and tell a small story of people who found strength together. The tale is quiet. It asks no proof. It asks only that the heart listen. There is a village by a wide river. The houses hug the bank. The people there are ordinary. They mend nets, cook a little each evening, feed a stray dog at the end of the lane. When a storm comes from the sea, it hits the roofs and shakes the windows. The wind can feel accusing, but these people have learned a different habit. When the first gust rises, they do 3 things. They light a small lamp. They gather in one house. They bring what they can. The acts are plain. They are also steady. One winter, a lång storm arrives. It lasts many days. Water creeps up the lane. The bakery closes. A roof collapses by the old mill. Fear rises like the tide. In the first hours, the village lies awake. Thoughts race. Blanc d'amble. The night seems endless. Then a neighbor knocks on a door. Another brings bread. A child carries blankets that smell of lavender. The small acts add one to another. They do not stop the storm. They change the way the storm is born. I watch the picture unfold in my mind as if it is a scene next door. The people form a circle in a low room with beams blackened by age. They sit close. No one speaks loudly. Voices are low. A kettle sings a thin note on the hearth. Someone hums a memory of a hymn, and the tune moves like a rope around the room. The music does not explain the weather. It steadies breathing. A steady breath slows the chest. A slowed chest rests the thinking. In that hush, the load shifts a degree. One wise woman in the group folds a list with care. The list named small needs a dry blanket for a child, a fix for a leaking eave, a call to a brother who can haul timber. The paper is short. The actions are smaller still. Each task is a place to put worry. The list keeps the big fear from devouring the night. The simplest plans steady the hands. Plans do not pretend control. They create steps that can be walked. The group shares stories of other storms. They do not boast of triumphs. They speak of small recoveries. A barge that came in late. A neighbor who stayed awake to mend a roof. The stories are brief. They are not speeches. They are memories like planks that keep the weak parts from falling through. Each memory is a knot that binds the community together. The gathering itself becomes a shelter. Faith moves through the circle, not as a doctrine, but as a steady practice. Someone reads a line from the book. Not to fix the world, but to listen for a kind voice that calls into the dark. The words that speak of calm on the sea become a lamp for the night. The people do not look to the words for a magic formula. They use them like oars, simple tools that help them move when the water is rough. The passage about wind stilled is not a promise that storms will not come again. It is a reminder that a presence can calm the heart in the middle of terror. Fellowship here is practical. Meals are shared. Tools are lent. A hand helps lift a timber. The work is neither grand nor loud. It is small and steady. Each small act is a forgiveness of solitude. When a husband loses a job or a child falls ill, the circle leans close. The hand that steadies the cup does not demand a debt. The comfort arrives as if it belonged by right. The surety of support changes how the next breath is taken. I watch one moment with care. A young man sits with eyes rimmed by tiredness. He keeps thinking his burden must be borne alone. A neighbor simply sets a warm bowl in front of him. No lecture accompanies the bowl. The act says care is offered, not bargained for. The young man does not have to explain everything. He may rest with the gift. Later, when the night loosens enough, That man places his hand on a table and names a single worry. The naming is a step. The circle listens without fixing. The presence itself holds the weight. Or team. The young man's shoulders unclench a degree. The little community also prays, not as a contest of words or a demand for outcomes, but as a way to place burdens somewhere outside the chest. The prayers are short. A single line may be enough: stay near, or give rest. The phrases are breath-caught and simple. Saying them aloud is an act of offering. The group does not argue theology. The words are small ropes tied to the night. I notice how the storm conversation returns to an earlier memory of the sea stilled by a quiet command. The comparison is gentle. Where the sea was calmed, these people find a metaphor for their togetherness. The quiet command is not a display of power here. It becomes an image of steadiness. The villagers speak of a presence that does not leave when trouble grows loud. They do not make a show of faith. They practice faith by coming and by staying. It seems. The storm forces practical decisions. A roof must be shored. Water must be cleared. The group divides tasks. One person cooks. One fixes. One stays with an elderly neighbor. The division is not a burden. It is a choreography of care. The motion of many hands doing small things makes the terrible things less heavy. The body notices the rhythm. The nervous system calms when the muscles move with purpose. Later, the storm wanes. The river returns to its ordinary voice. The repairs begin in daylight. People carry planks on shoulders and laugh at small missteps. The laughter is not a denial of loss. It is a sign that the heart is mending. The village does not close a ledger and pretend nothing happened. They keep the scars and do what is needed. They have learned something about living together, that the presence of others makes the hard parts bearable. I fold this small story back into the room. The lamp is still warm. The book rests open. The tale of fellowship ends not with triumphal words, but with a quiet understanding. Strength is not only in solitary endurance. It is found in joining hands. The presence of others is often the form mercy takes. Faith and community shape a place where peace can arrive even in wild weather. Before I turn the page, I ask you to take a slow breath with me. Inhale gently. Hold a beat. Exhale long. Let the breath carry the image of the circle in the low room. Picture the light steady on a table. Picture hands passing bowls. Picture the lamp's glow on folded lists. Let the scene ease the chest a little. I offer a short prayer inside. The words are small. Keep near. Grand reste. Help us hold one another. Say them once and let them go. The request is not loud. It is a soft offering placed into the night. The body receives the offering by way of a loosened jaw and a relaxed shoulder. The story closes with a calm image. The sea is quiet. The village walks slowly into morning. The broken roof becomes a place to work together. The memory of the storm remains. It shapes the people but does not define them. Fellowship becomes a shelter that is steady even when weather returns. Faith is a companion in the work, not a demand for immediate change. Hope grows in small acts. I will read another passage soon. It will carry similar images, hands that help, lamps that stay lit, presence that steadies, For now, let the breath slow, let the shoulders fall, let the heart accept the gentle truth that when people gather, burdens are lighter. Sleep may come with this thought tucked like a small parcel under the pillow. You are not meant to shoulder every storm alone. Rest in the company that keeps watch. I sit with the lamp low and the book open. The page breathes under my hand. Tonight I want to speak about the mind. I want to speak about how a mind can be quieted. A quiet mind brings peace. Peace rests the body. It softens the breath. It invites sleep. There is a simple idea I keep near. It says that the way we think shapes the way we live. This is not deep theory. It is a small, practical truth. If thoughts dwell on worry, the chest tightens. If thoughts return to kindness, the jaw loosens to change the night. A thought must be given a different place to rest. Renewing the mind means practicing that change. It means noticing the pattern of a restless thought and offering another way to hold it. It is not a demand for sudden clarity. It is a gentle retraining. Think of it as a soft rerouting of attention. The practice is patient and slow. I have in mind the image of a gardener who tends soil. The gardener does not force a seed to sprout in a single night. The gardener waters, loosens the earth, clears the weeds, and returns. In time, the seed responds. The mind is like that plot. Little, steady acts help tender thoughts rise. A passage I carry speaks of this renewing. It does not come as a shout. It comes as a reminder to let the mind be formed by steady truth rather than the loud news of fear. The instruction asks the mind to lean toward what is good, peaceful, and true. I do not recite the words exactly. I let the sense of them guide the night. We are not meant to do this alone. I think of a well-known scene of people gathered together. They sit close. They share a meal. They listen. They pray. They keep company. These habits shape the mind as much as any private discipline. Community provides a mirror and a hand to steady us when thinking grows sharp. The early community I picture lived these habits simply. They were devoted to learning. They kept fellowship. They broke bread together. They prayed. They watched one another's needs and met them. They formed a rhythm that made worry less likely to become rule. The shared life renewed each person's outlook. That is the power of a small, steady circle. Tonight, renewing the mind can be done in small ways that feel safe. I will offer a few gentle practices. None of them will require long speeches or big promises. Each one is a small return to truth. First, a short breath practice. Place one hand on the chest. Breathe slowly. Inhale for 4 beats. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. On the in-breath, invite a calm thought. On the out-breath, release the tight one. Repeat 3 times. The breath is a teacher. It shows the mind how to slow. Second, the single thought pause. When a worry arrives, name it softly. Say the name in the mind, that one worry. Then pick one small truth to hold in its place. The truth might be as plain as I am not alone. or sleep is allowed. Keep the truth brief. Breathe the truth in. Let it settle like a small stone on the table of the heart. Third, a nighttime inventory. On a scrap of paper, write 3 gentle facts, 1 small mercy from the day, 1 need for tomorrow, 1 act of kindness to do for yourself. Fold the paper and place it beside the lamp. The paper moves what is loose into a tidy place. The mind can rest when some things are set down. Fourth, the practice of simple images. I ask you to picture a slow river. The water carries leaves without panic. Lay 1 thought on its surface and watch it float. Do not force the current. Let the image hold the thought while the body relaxes. Imagery is not escape. It is an aid. Fifth, community moments. If there is a person who steadies you, speak 1 short sentence to them tomorrow. A small voice saying, I am tired tonight. Could you pray with me? The community need not be a crowd. A single steady friend changes the tenor of thought. These practices draw from the shape of that early community. They did not fix a single problem at once. They did 3 repeated things. They sat together. They learned together. They shared bread and burden. Over time, those practices rewired fear. They made peace habitual. We also must mind the intake of the evening. A steady stream of loud content will not help a mind that wants rest. Turn down the noise. Limit the bright screen. Give the senses calm materials. Read a single paragraph of gentle text. Listen to a slow hymn or a low tune. The outer quiet supports the inner change. Renewing the mind also involves small confessions of truth. If shame claws at the throat, name 1 small wrong without litany. Admit it briefly. Ask silently for help to change. This is not a dramatic act. It is a practical handing over. Confession narrows the storm into a manageable task. It makes the chest lighter. Gratitude is part of the work, but not in a forced way. Do not demand large rejoicing. Find 1 mild thing and hold it. The warmth of a cup, a thin ray of light on the floor, a voice that did not hurt. Keep the gratitude simple. Let it be a soft counterweight to the harsher notes of the day. I remind myself that renewing a mind is not erasing memory. It is resettling priority. Memories remain, but they do not deserve to be the governor of the night. A renewed mind lets the bigger truths have the louder voice. It gives mercy more airtime than criticism. The practice of renewing involves patience. The mind will wander. It will return to its old roots. That is expected. Meet the wandering without scorn. Guide attention back kindly. The repetition is not failure. It is training. A child learning to walk falls often. Each rise is part of the progress. Community practices make this gentler. A neighbor who brings bread. A friend who listens. A small group who praise these acts are practical forms of mind renewal. They feed the heart with steady images of care. They also remind the mind that thinking is not only an individual exercise. Minds are reshaped in company. I keep a small mental list of phrases that help me. They are not polished. They are simple. Things like this moment is enough. Or mercy meets the tired. Or I may rest now. Use one and breathe it in. Let it be a tether. Short phrases travel easily on the breath and settle deep. Tonight, if worry returns in the dark, try this. Lay the worry on the lap of an imagined neighbor. Picture them taking it for a moment. Watch your shoulders unclench while their hands hold the weight. This is a safe imagination. It trains the brain to receive help. The habit of giving burdens to another softens the nervous system. Another practice is to keep a small lamp of truth. Each night, name one reliable fact you are cared for. You are not alone. Tomorrow is not required now. Keep that fact bright and simple. Let it counter the flood of what-ifs. Like a lamp. It does not banish all shadow. It reshapes the dark into a friendlier space. I also encourage limiting self-criticism at night. The inner judge is loud. When the world is quiet, notice the judge without argument. Reply once, briefly, then return to the breath. Do not attempt to dismantle the judge in a single evening. Offer one small corrective. Habit will do the rest. These practices echo the life of the gathered people I have pictured. They returned again and again to simple rhythms. They shared food and prayer. They listened to teaching that reshaped thought. In the same way, small, repeated habits reshape our nights. Before I move to the next reading, breathe with me. Inhale slowly. Imagine a steady light filling the mind. Hold. Exhale and release the sharp thought nearest you. Repeat twice. Feel the shoulders drop a little. Notice the jaw soften. I will read now a short passage that speaks to the reshaping of thought in calm images. The passage will not argue. It will offer a picture of rest. After I read, there will be a long pause for the breath to make room. Let the pause do its work. For now, tuck the small practices near. Keep the lamp low. Place the folded list within reach. Remember that renewing the mind is a patient task. It is a careful reordering, not a sudden overhaul. Mercy meets the slow work. Community holds the practice. The night offers space for the mind to learn a new rhythm. Take one more measured breath with me. Inhale for 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Let the thought of renewal rest like a warm cloth on the chest. When the voice returns, it will read a passage that keeps company with this very work. For now, let sleep approach as a teacher, not an enemy. Let the mind be gently made new. I set the book down for a moment. The lamp keeps its gentle pool of light. Outside, the night breathes slow. Inside, the room listens with me. We take a kayat, not an empty silence, a silence that is an opening, a silence that invites a presence in. Breathe with me once. Inhale easy. Hold. Exhale longer. Let the first weight of the day slip a little. I ask you to let the world recede for now. Turn attention inward like one folds a map. Keep the hands still. Let the eyes rest or close. If that feels safe, the rest of the day can wait for a while. Think of the mind as a house with many rooms. Some rooms are warm. Some rooms hold dust. Tonight we do not rush to clean. We simply walk from room to room with a kind, patient lamp. Notice without judgment. The noticing itself is a healing act. There is a line I carry in memory about the mind being reshaped. It says that change comes when the inner patterns are gently renewed. Do not imagine a sudden overhaul. Imagine a slow repainting of a room. A single stroke at a time softens the color. Transformation is steady and tender. In this silence, name one thing you would like to see change inside you. Keep it small. A shorter list helps the heart. Perhaps it is less fear at night. Perhaps it is kinder speech to yourself. Perhaps it is a willingness to accept help. Say the need quietly in the mind. No pressure to explain it. Let the name sit like a small pebble in the palm. Now place that pebble on the table of your thoughts. Imagine a light from above, not harsh, not bright, just enough to make edges soft. Picture the light resting over the pebble. Let the light be like a hand that does not demand performance. It only watches and warms. Trust begins in such small scenes. Listen for a still, steady presence. Picture it as a hush behind the words you think. It may feel like breath. It may feel like a heartbeat, a little slower than your own. Feel that steadiness at the back of the mind. No need to force a feeling. If nothing comes, that too is part of the silence. The lack of sensation does not mean absence. Presence often lies quiet until it is invited. I guide the thought a little more. Imagine a potter at a wheel. The clay is rough and shaped by previous storms. The potter's hands press gently. The clay yields slowly under that steady pressure. Transformation is not violent. It is a reforming that respects the material. Let the image reassure the places that fear rush. Soft hands reshape with patience. Turn attention to the body for a breath. Sense where tension lives tonight. A knot in the shoulders, a tightness in the throat, a shallow place in the chest. Breathe into the tightness as if the breath is warm water. Let the warm water move through the knot. The breath does not need to fix everything. It only needs to keep company. Ask one simple question in the quiet. Where do I need mercy tonight? Listen for the first answer that arises. It might be a name, a place, a simple ache. Place that need gently into the imagined hands of the presence you pictured earlier. Say to it in the mind, this is fragile. Hold it. The act is not a grand prayer. It is an honest handing over. I invite a short, slow silence now. Count the breaths if it helps. 5 slow breaths. No hurry as you breathe. Let the phrase, I am held, sit on the in-breath and the out-breath carry away a little more weight. Let the rhythm be the guide. Breathe in, I am held. Breathe out, let go a little. If thoughts intrude, welcome them without scolding. Picture each thought as a leaf on a stream. Watch it pass. Do not chase. Do not push. Return to the breath. The practice of returning is not failure. It is the very work of renewal. In the hush, remember one small truth. You are not defined by tonight's unrest. The mind tells many stories. The deepest truth is quieter than the loudest fear. Imagine that truth as a small, steady stitch along the hem of the soul. Each night of remembering is another stitch. Over time, the hem grows stronger. Think now of one gentle memory, that brings warmth. It could be a hand on your shoulder, a voice that said your name kindly, a cup of tea on a cold morning. Let the memory be vivid for a moment. Notice the warmth it gives. Hold it like a small token. Tokens travel well into sleep. I read to you before you close your eyes. My reading is not a test of belief. It is an invitation to rest. The passages I choose are like soft blankets, no fancy pattern, only warmth. Tonight's reflection draws from that instruction about the mind. It asks us to lean away from patterns that fray us and to receive thoughts that mend. Imagine now a low, steady lamp set in a window. Behind it, a hand passes and the glass fogs a little from warmth. The world outside moves in its old rhythm. Inside, the lamp warms a small patch of floor. The patch is safe. The mind need not light up the whole house to be content. One warm place is enough for tonight. Offer one brief thanksgiving in the silence. Not a long list. One line will do. Thank you for the small mercy of this day. Thank you for a safe place to rest. Thank you for one kind face. Keep the sentence soft and true. The act of thanks is a tiny hinge. It opens the mind toward light. If sorrow rises in the quiet, let it be met with tenderness. Picture a soft cloth laid across a bruise. The cloth does not banish the hurt. It protects it from further shock. Let your thoughts cover the sore places in the same way a gentle gesture, a repeated breath, a small kindness to the self. Now, for a few moments, sit in quiet reflection. Imagine the presence you've pictured leaning near. Let the feeling of being seen without demand settle. Let the mind rest in that allowance. Stay with this as long as you need. There is no clock here but the breath. I will speak softly again when the time of reflection ends. For now, remain in the hush a little longer. If sleep comes, accept it. If rest only, accept that too. The work of renewal is not always measured by immediate change. It is measured by small returns to the quiet presence. Before I close this moment of reflection, choose one small truth to carry into the night. Make it brief. Perhaps mercy meets this. Or one small step tomorrow. Or I may rest now. Hold that phrase like a feather. Let it float with each breath until it settles somewhere safe. When I begin to read again, I will share a passage shaped by gentle assurance. The passage will not press for answers. It will come as company. The voice will stay low. The pace will be slow. For now, give thanks for the quiet and for the small practice you have done. Let the rest you need arrive as gently as it can. Take one last measured breath with me. Inhale for 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Let the shoulders soften. Let the jaw unclench. Let the lamp circle of light keep watch as sleep or peace comes. When I speak again, the reading will continue with gentle images that hold this very thought: the mind can be slowly renewed. One small, quiet night at a time, I settled the book in my lap. The lamp makes a soft circle on the page. The room keeps a patient hush. Tonight I bring a simple offering, how to hand over what is heavy. A line from the Psalms comes to mind. Psalm 4:610 calls the heart to stillness. An invitation not to hurry, but to know. I do not recite it as law. I carry it as a small instruction. Be still, it says in spirit. And no, stillness is not empty. It is the quiet room where truth can be heard. In that quiet, a different kind of motion happens. Weight moves into the hands of a care larger than our best trying. There is another line I remember, from a short Viseletter. 1 Peter 5:7 asks us to cast our cares, to place our anxieties onto one who cares for us. The words are not a magic eraser. They are an invitation to lay burdens down where they can be handled by a steady hand. Try this with me slowly. Eyes may close, or they may rest on the lamp's pool. Take a breath that is easy and not strained. Notice where the body holds tension tonight. A tightness in the throat, a knot in the shoulders, a dull ache behind the eyes. Name it in a single soft phrase. Say inwardly this weight is here. The naming is a small act of honesty. It makes the trouble something that can be moved. Now imagine a low table between you and the steady presence you trust. The table is plain. It does not judge. One by one, place the burdens on its surface. Picture each as a small stone or a scrap of paper. A single worry goes down. A fear finds a place. A memory, raw and sharp, rests at the center. Do this without hurry. The scene is simple. Hands set things down. The motion itself begins to change the weight. I teach this with small gestures. Open the palms. Palms up. Let gravity do some of the work. On an out-breath, picture the burden slipping from the fingers into the waiting hand. Do not try to perform a grand surrender. Small, repeated acts are truer. A single breath that lets go is a bridge. Repeat as you need until the shoulders soften. There is a relief that is quiet and plain. It does not arrive like a trumpet. It comes like the easing of a knot. When a burden moves from the chest to another place, a small space opens in the ribs. The breath finds a little more room. That room is mercy's first small gift. It asks nothing of the mind except to notice. Sometimes the act needs a physical help. Keep a scrap of paper and a pen near the lamp. Write the burden in one simple sentence. Fold the paper and lay it beneath the lamp's warm circle. The lamp is witness. The folding is an act of care. Later, where it feels right, take the paper and hand it toward the stream, whether real or imagined. Set it in soil, tuck it into a small box, or place it somewhere that feels prayerful. The form matters less than the motion. Doing something with the worry moves the nervous system out of perpetual holding. If it helps, imagine the present care as a small bird that has been clinging to your sleeve. It breathes fast and looks for a place to rest. Offer the sleeve to the larger hand. Watch the bird hop into a safe palm and settle. The image is not fanciful. It trains the heart to hand over, not to hoard the anxiety inside. The mind learns by picture as much as by sentence. Community may join this practice. a neighbor's hand on the arm, a friend's quiet listening. In the village story I read earlier, people came with blankets and bread. They also came with a willingness to carry a load for a time. If it is safe and wise, place one burden into another person's care tomorrow. Ask simply for prayer or for a single small help. Sharing is not weakness. It is a practical way to lighten the pack so the night can be gentler. There is a thread that connects quiet and casting burdens. Psalm 4:6-1. Zero's stillness gives space to cast. If the mind barrels on with arguments, it is hard to place anything down. Stillness steadies the hands. When breathing slows and the jaw relaxes, handing over is easier. Do not rush the stillness. Sit with it, like one sits with a steady friend. The presence of that friend is the place where burdens can be set down without shame. Sometimes burdens are not tidy. Grief, for example, comes in layers. A single breath will not finish it. The practice of casting then becomes a series of small moments. Tonight you set down a part of the grief. Tomorrow another piece. Over weeks and months, the habit of handing over creates a new muscle. That muscle is not forgetfulness. It is a capacity to carry less by letting a faithful hand carry more. One can also practice a brief prayer that leans on 1 Peter's compassionate call. It needs no flourish. A single, steady sentence will do. I hand this to the one who cares. Breathe the sentence in. Breathe it out. The repetition matters. The breath is the priest of the body. It carries the word into the flesh. The phrase does not argue with pain. It simply offers it elsewhere. Forgiveness is sometimes part of the package we hand over. When a wound burns and it feels like the heat must be held forever, consider whether forgiveness might relieve the hands. Forgiveness here is small and practical. It begins with a willingness to stop feeding the injury. It may mean choosing to trust mercy rather than nurture a grudge. This is not a denial of harm. It is a refusal to let the harm become the head of one's life. If that idea sits too heavy tonight, set forgiveness aside. Hand over only what you can. The rest can wait. There is a sacred simplicity to this work. It does not require eloquent prayers or detailed theology. It asks for honesty and for repeated small motions. The Bible I read to you before sleep becomes a soft teacher in this. It suggests that we are invited to cast our cares, not as a command to be stoic, but as a tender offer of relief. If anxiety wakes in the night, try the bedside ritual. Keep a notebook and a lamp. When the chest tightens, write the worry down in a single line. Fold the paper. Whisper the brief phrase that hands it over. Place the folded note under the lamp. The lamp warms the paper with witness. In the morning, read the list gently. Some items will reveal practical next steps. Some will not. Both kinds are safe to hold outside the chest. There is also a body practice that helps. Place one hand on the heart and one on the belly. Breathe slowly into the belly. On each exhale, imagine the chest unloading a small weight into the hands. The hands receive, then ease back into the lap. The motion is rhythmic like a tide. Tides move weight naturally. The body recognizes this rhythm. The nervous system, in time, follows. Mercy often comes disguised as ordinary care. A cup set down, a towel offered, a quiet presence that does not try to fix. These small acts matter in the work of casting burdens. They hold the hand of the soul while the stronger help is at work. Accept them. They are part of the pattern that brings rest. Remember also that casting is not permanent erasure. A burden placed in the care of God or another may still be present to memory. That is fine. The practice is about who carries it. To hand over is to change shoulders. The work does not vanish, but the weight becomes shared. A shared weight is easier to bear through the night. I read aloud, slowly, the thought of being still and of handing cares over. I do not quote chapters or demand assent. I speak the shape of the lines. They come as a small lamp in the dark. Listen for the gentle cadence of care. Hear a sentence that asks you to be still. Hear a sentence that asks you to place your worries on a waiting table. Let the phrases land softly. As the room quiets, choose one burden to set down now. Keep the choice small. One name, one ache, one fear. Place it on the imagined table. Feel the breath carry the lift. Notice the shoulders ease. Do not expect fireworks. Expect a soft loosening. The rest of the night moves more kindly when at least one weight is not on the chest. Before I turn the page to the next reading, I fold the book closed for a heartbeat and keep the lamp low. I offer a short inward benediction. May what you set down be handled with a care that sees the full shape of your need. May a steady presence keep the watch you cannot. May sleep come when it can. And if it does not, may rest still visit the body. When I speak again, I will take up a passage that breathes assurance into the small act of casting. The words will not demand answers. They will keep company. For now, let the hands rest in the lap. Let the shoulders soften. Let one small burden be unburdened. The room is quiet. The lamp watches. The night holds what you have given away. I sit with the Bible open and the lamp close. The page feels warm beneath my palm. Night moves slow beyond the window. Inside, the room keeps a steady hush. Tonight I speak about rest as a gift, not something to win, not a reward for a perfect day. A gift placed into hands that are tired. The passage I hold in my mind invites the worn and the weary to come near. It offers rest. It asks that the heavy loads be laid down and that a softer way be learned. The picture is of a teacher who walks beside a student and shows an easier step. The words are gentle, and they come as an invitation rather than a demand. Rest here is treated like an apprenticeship. I imagine a young farmer learning to work a field. The teacher stands close and adjusts a shoulder, shows where to place the foot so the step wastes less strength. The learner copies slowly. The posture changes. The back lightens. This is not a sudden cure. It is a way of learning to move with less strain. The yoke in that image is not a trap. It is a shared harness. Two hands carry what one alone cannot. The idea that rest is a teacher helps. It makes rest active without making it frantic. To learn rest is to practice small gestures. To unlace the shoe and let the foot breathe. To loosen a belt and allow the belly to soften. To set down a pen or to close a cover on the day's ledger. These are small acts. Each one is a lesson in surrender. I offer an image for tonight. Picture a narrow path with a shallow stream at its side. A teacher pauses there and takes off a heavy pack. The student watches. Uncertain, the teacher lifts the pack, sets it down, and says, with no hurry, that the path is easier when weight is shared. The student lays the hand on the pack, then on the teacher's arm. There is no performance. There is a joining. The body breathes differently when the shoulder is not bearing so much. Practice helps make the invitation real. Try a short ritual now. Find a small object within reach. It might be a ring, a pebble, a scrap of paper. Hold it a moment. Name one thing that feels heavy tonight. Keep the name small. Say it inwardly, in a single short phrase. Then set the object down in a place of witness by the lamp. The motion is deliberate and quiet. It tells the body that carrying will pause for a night. A breathing pattern may carry the motion deeper. Breathe in slowly. Picture gathering the weight into the chest. Hold a gentle pause. Breathe out and imagine the weight moving into the hands of the one who carries with you. Repeat 3 times. The rhythm is small. It trains the nervous system. It teaches the body that handing over is possible. Rest is also a posture of trust. There is a worry that rest equals neglect. The mind protests that the world will demand payback for an hour spent not striving. That voice is weary and loud. Tonight, the reading offers a different posture. Rest is not avoiding responsibility. It is a wise ordering of strength. A lamp cannot burn without the steadying of its oil. The body, too, needs tending. Sleep is part of stewardship. The conservative act of rest returns competence. Think of a tool left sharp and clean. It does better work. A rested hand steadies a blade. The day that follows a proper night is not weaker. It has a steadier center. The gift of rest gives back work done more kindly. Guilt may come. It is a common companion. If it arrives, meet it with a small correction. Name the guilt. Call it by a single word. Offer a shorter truth in reply. Rest heals. Say the truth softly and breathe it in. Do not argue at length. A gentle counterstatement is often enough to loosen the jaw. Rest has simple signs that the body recognizes. Lower the light. Remove a watch or bracelet. Fold the day's paperwork away into a drawer. Place a glass of water nearby. These outward motions tell the body and the mind that work is not expected now. Rituals make limits clear. Limits are mercy. They are small fences for delicate shoots. There is also a tenderness in learning the teacher's rhythm. The yoke image suggests walking together at the same pace. To be yoked with a gentle teacher is to match breathing and pace. Try this slow, the step you imagine taking into a literal slowing of breath. Inhale for 4. Hold for a moment. Exhale for 6. With each out-breath, imagine the pace of your chest aligning with a steadier walk. The pattern becomes a teacher of its own. Sleep often arrives more easily when the mind is given a place to deposit worry. Earlier practices place scraps of paper under the lamp. Tonight, Try a small bowl at the bedside. Drop into it one small thought you do not want to carry overnight. Let the bowl be witness. The bowl does not fix the thought, it only receives it. The act itself calms the hands that cling. Comfort is not always sudden. Rest can be slow like a tide. Sometimes only a small loosening comes. A single hour of deeper breath. A jaw that unclenches. These are valid and valued signs. Celebrate the small mercy without demanding a full cure. Healing moves by degrees. The night's work is often a long kindness, rather than a dramatic deliverance. There are nights when rest resists. Anxiety pushes back. A mind insists on replaying the day's ledger. In those hours, a gentle practice is to read a short, soft passage from the Bible in memory or in paraphrase. Let the line be brief, an invitation to those who are tired to come and find rest under a generous hand. Allow the phrase to be a lamp. Nod adevade. Hear it like an old, kind voice calling from the doorway. Do not force belief. Listen instead for the shape of the invitation. Feel the posture of the call. It leans toward the weary with an offer rather than a demand. The voice that calls does not shame the one who struggles. It only offers a place to stand where the load is shared, and steps are lighter. Practical rest is also about boundaries. Turn down the noise. Close the tabs that hiss with obligation. Let the bright screens go dark. If there is a small task that will gnaw at sleep, write it down as a single, simple line and place it in the drawer. The mind often resists rest because it imagines problems unresolved. A written plan holds the problem in a small, manageable place, so the mind can stop rehearsing it. Rest can look like gentleness toward the body. Place a warm cloth at the shoulders. Drink a cup of warm, non-stimulating tea. Wear clothing that allows the skin to breathe. Small comforts are not indulgence. They are care. They steady the nervous system. They teach the body that being tended does not require earning. A final image for tonight. Picture a field at evening. The work is done. The plough rests in the furrow. The farmer walks slowly toward home. The sun is low. A companion waits by the door with a light cloak. There is no hurried accounting. The day's efforts are not erased. But they are not demanded this hour. The cloak is a gift of rest. Accept it. Now choose one small thing to practice before sleep. It can be a ritual of setting down, a breathing pattern, a single written note, a bowl that receives one worry. Make it small and keep it honest. Do not try to do everything at once. The point is a single, faithful step toward rest. I will read next a short passage that echoes this invitation to the weary. The reading will be calm and spare. It will offer images rather than arguments. After the reading, I will pause long enough for the breath to carry the lines into the body. For now, let the hands fall. Let the shoulders soften. Let the small ceremony of this evening be enough to teach the body a softer way to walk. Take one slow breath with me. Inhale easily. Hold. Exhale, and imagine the weight moving from the chest into a waiting hand. Repeat once. The lamp keeps its circle. The Bible rests. The night holds a gift of rest, offered now and always to the one who will accept it. I sit with the Bible again, The lamp makes a warm circle. Outside. The night keeps its steady hush. The page rustles soft when I turn it. My hand rests on the margin like a small anchor. Tonight I want to bring a thought that lights the morning. I do not press it like a demand. I offer it like a lantern held for a traveler who has walked in fog. There are nights that feel long. There are tears that visit. There are hours when the chest holds a particular ache. The hope I speak of is not denial of those hours. It is a patient promise that morning can change the tone of a long season. I read a psalm in my mind. It says that night sometimes keeps sorrow, yet the morning brings joy. I do not quote the words exactly. I carry their shape. The idea is plain. Night can be heavy. Morning can restore, saying that simply gives direction to a heart that feels stuck in the dark. Think of night as a room with curtains drawn. The curtains keep out the day. They also muffle the sounds and make things feel closer and harsher. Morning is the opening of a curtain. Light comes in slow. It does not erase memory. It softens it. The edges of what hurt become less raw. That is the kind of morning I mean. Imagine the first breath of dawn. The air is cooler. A small bird calls once. Then again, the sound is simple. It does not demand anything from the traveler. It only names a new hour. Sometimes the morning joy is as quiet as that single note. It is not fireworks. It is a gentle lifting. I invite a small practice to meet the morning now. Even if the eyes are closed, picture a thin line of light at the base of a curtain. Each breath widens the line. With the inhale, imagine the line growing a little. With the exhale, let it settle. Do this for 3 slow cycles. The breath and the image work together. They teach the body that light can arrive gradually and without alarm. There is mercy in small dawns. A single hour of easier breathing is mercy. A thought that softens by a fraction is mercy. The Psalm's thought does not announce a sudden fix. It promises a shift that can start with a single tender thing. Let the expectation be small. Smallness makes room for what actually comes. Joy in the morning can be a simple habit. Make one small plan for the day ahead. Not a grand list. Just one thing that will give the heart a reason to notice light. It might be a cup of warm tea. It might be opening a window to the first cool air. It might be stepping outside for 2 minutes to feel the ground underfoot. The plan is a tiny bridge from night to day. It asks little and returns much. I speak of joy as a gentle rising. Imagine a seed under earth. It has endured cold and dark. Morning's warmth coaxed it up slowly. The plant does not leap from the soil. It pushes and breathes until one day a green tip finds the light. The image is not a promise of quick growth. It is a promise that life carries a capacity to respond. The nocturnal season is part of the story, but it is not all there is. When sorrow is recent and loud, the idea of joy being near may feel like a stranger's kindness. That is expected. Do not force a smile. Instead, look for the smallest sign, a silver edge on a cloud, a neighbor's soft greeting, a hand that lingers on a railing. These small things matter. They are the invitations that morning offers. I read the psalm lines in a quiet way in my mind and let them sit. They speak not as a reprimand for those who weep. but as comfort for those who do. To be present with grief and to be promised morning's joy are not contradictions. They coexist. One does not erase the other. The poem of the psalm tends to hold both in a single breath. Practice a short prayer with me. Keep it to 1 or 2 words. Breathe the words like a tide. On the inhale, receive hope. On the exhale, release hold. Repeat 3 times. The phrase is small. The breath is the teacher. The habit trains the body to expect mercy with the dawn. There is a restful courage in waiting for morning. Waiting does not mean passivity. It can be active in the smallest gestures. Lay out a mug. Place a blanket at the chair. Set a quiet list beside the bedside lamp. These small preparations say to the body, there will be a morning to meet. The mind respects a plan. It can trust. If the night brings memories that sting, do not push them away as if they were shameful. Give them form, and then fold them into a soft practice. Imagine placing them onto a small board at the foot of the bed. See each memory as a pebble. One by one, set them down. Notice the weight lessen a degree. The stage of laying them down is itself part of the way morning arrives. It is not a denial of pain. It is an act of gentle ordering. Joy in the morning often arrives as companionship. The first light reveals hands that will reach to help. Keep a thought tonight for one person who might be a small companion tomorrow. Plan a short message. Ask for nothing dramatic. A simple line of care does 2 things. It gives someone else reason to rise, and it binds the day into shared life. Joy grows in circles, not in isolation. There are mornings where the joy feels like a stranger. In those mornings, practice attention to small gifts. Taste the warm tea. Notice the steam. Let the warmth move into a tight place. Listen to a single line of a hymn or a tune that settles the chest. Small elements collect. They form a harbor for the heart. If hope has been brittle, handle it like a fragile cup. Do not thrust it into a crowd of heavy expectations. Keep it in a safe place. Allow it to be tended. Each morning the cup is set out to be used. The habit of using hope gently is the same habit that teaches joy to grow. I will read a short paraphrase now from a psalm that carries this promise. The words are not a test. They are a lamp offered at the doorway. They say that nights are real and that mornings hold an opening. Hear the cadence, like a hand placed on the shoulder. Take it without argument. Let it rest. After the reading, sit with the breath for a few long moments. Breathe in the image of light widening. Breathe out the tightened holding. Let the rhythm be the teacher for the body. In the silence, the thought that joy may come with the morning feels less like wishful thinking and more like a gentle plan to be trusted. There will be mornings of fragile delight. There will be mornings that carry more sorrow. Both are allowed. The promise is not that the pain will immediately disappear. The promise is that joy can enter the same room as sorrow. It can be small. It can be patient. It can begin with the gentlest light and a single breath that says, I will take this day step by step. If sleep brings resistance tonight, make a small physical act to invite morning. Place shoes by the door. Fold a light shawl on the chair. Set the kettle ready. These are not chores. They are invitations for the body to imagine a morning that is kinder. The mind delights in small signs. The muscles relax when they can see the shape of tomorrow's small mercies. Gentle gratitude helps. Not a long list. One plain line of thanks for one small mercy. Maybe a friend who called. Maybe the roof that held the rain. Maybe the taste of warm bread. Name the single thing quietly. Let it be a token tucked in the pocket of the night. Gratitude is not the erasure of sorrow. It is a companion that opens the chest a little. If tears come in the dark, welcome them. Tears are not a failing. They are a cleansing. Let them be like the rain that softens the soil, so the tiny green can push up in the morning. Wipe the face with tenderness. Breathe. Do not rush to be cheerful. Allow the body to move through what it needs to. There is a practical wisdom in remembering that mornings ask for gentleness, not grand gestures. A slow cup of tea, a short walk at dawn, a single line written to a friend. These are small threads that sow joy into the day. They are accessible and modest. They are the ways that the psalmic promise becomes ordinary. As I close this part, I place my hand on the open page. The lamp's light is steady. The thought of joy in the morning sits like a seed in the palm of the heart. It does not demand anything from tonight, but a quiet willingness to let it grow. One last breath with me. Inhale slowly. Hold a soft beat. Exhale and imagine a thin line of gold at the edge of the curtain. Let the shoulders ease. Let the jaw soften. Keep this image near as you rest. When the voice comes again, we will move into a short reading that leans on morning images. It will be quiet and slow. For now, let the possibility of morning joy settle like dew on the field of the heart. Rest. Hope. Receive the small light that is offered. The night will do its work. The morning will come. The lamp remains low. The book rests open on my lap. The room breathes slow. I feel the shape of the hour. I speak quietly into that shape. We have read together. We have paused. We have let the words sink. Now I offer a prayer for the night. The prayer is short. It is steady. It does not demand much. It simply asks for peace and presence to keep watch. Breathe with me once more. Inhale gently. Hold for a soft beat. Exhale longer. Let the breath make room. Let the shoulders melt a fraction. The body remembers how to let go when the breath teaches it. I begin by naming what is true tonight. Some of you carry a tiredness that is not only physical. Some of you hold a grief that makes the night loud. Some of you are anxious about what tomorrow might bring. Some of you are quietly thankful and simply ready to rest. All of this sits under the lamp. All of this is known. I do not try to fix it with many words. I place it before the one who hears with more attention than any human ear. I call softly for a presence that stays. Let there be a nearness that does not insist on explanation. Let the word become a warm hand at the shoulder. Let the promise we have spoken tonight be more than a sentence. Let it be a steady fact, pressed close to the ribs. I pray for a peace that goes beyond the mind's cleverness. I ask that night grant a kind of calm the intellect cannot name. May a quietness wider than thought settle into the chest. May it stand like a gentle guard. not to keep the world out, but to keep the heart safe inside. Picture that peace as a pale light around the pulse, a circle without harsh edges. It is not the absence of trouble. It is a sheltering hush in the middle of trouble. I remember a line I have held in my mind as I read. It speaks of a peace that watches over both heart and thinking. I do not quote it exactly. I only carry its shape. Tonight I pray that such a peace will keep watch over your thoughts as you sleep. Let it hold each anxious turning. Let it fold around every worry and make room for rest. For those whose minds race with what-ifs, I ask a breathing steadiness. Let the breath find its slow tide. Let the chest move in a calmer rhythm. For those whose hands ache and bodies hurt, I ask a soft easing. May the muscles loosen. May muscles that have held strain release a little at a time. For those who are lonely, I ask for felt closeness. May the imagination receive the warmth of company. May memory of kindness be present as a real thing. I name the weary and the grieving. May rest be gentle with them. May sleep, when it comes, be a mender in small stitches. For those who fear tomorrow, I ask a small promise one day's portion at a time. May the mind understand that it need not carry the whole road tonight. Tomorrow will come with its own measure. Tonight, let the weight be smaller. I also pray for mercy, for mistakes and regrets that keep replaying. I ask a softening. May the heart be able to let something of the burden be tended by a compassionate hand. Mercy does not erase what happened. It only changes who carries the memory. If there is a need to make amends where safe and right, grant the courage and the small steps. If repair is beyond reach, give a patient grace for the slow work. I bring the small needs too. For the restless infant, the sleepless parent, the patient in the distant ward, the friend without a roof tonight, grant tenderness. For hands that will rise early to care for others in the dark, brighten a margin of strength. For those whose nights are full of noise, give pockets of silence. For those whose nights are filled with prayer and hope, let those prayers rest near the ear of mercy. Let dreams come, if they will bring comfort. If fear arrives in sleep, stand near it with a calm presence. If memory brings healing narratives, let them play like soft music. May the subconscious find ways to unbind hidden knots. I do not command the mind to dream anything in particular. I ask only that whatever comes in the night carry some balm. I place a gentle request for protection, not a thunderous promise, but a quiet keeping. Imagine a watch set around the room like a mild light. It does not banish the shadows, but it softens their edges. Imagine a hand that does not let go. Picture an anchor under the water, holding steady while waves pass. Let that image be an assurance in the chest. I pray for the small, ordinary mercies. Hot water for a tired hand, a neighbor's car that starts in the morning, a chicken coop that waits safe and dry, a throat that finds rest after coughing. These are not grand petitions, but they matter. The everyday mercies build a cradle for the larger ones. I lift up the relationships that strain at the edges. For one who must speak a difficult truth tomorrow, grant steadiness in the tongue and a wise timing for one who waits a return or a word. Grand patience, for those entangled in harsh words. Breathe into those places a cooling grace. Let forgiveness begin in the small motions of the hands. I hold in mind those who have no one to name them tonight. If you belong to that quiet list right now, hear this. You are not invisible. A presence that knows you is nearer than you can measure. May that presence be felt like warm water poured slowly across the shoulders. It does not demand a reply. It only stays. I ask that the peace that comes be a kind of guard that keeps both heart and mind safe. May anxious thoughts not be the only company. May kinder, quieter thoughts rise in the space where fear once crowded. May the inner voice soften its judgments. May a gentler witness sit in the chair beside the troubled mind and simply be. Gratitude moves in small ways. I give thanks for the small things that made today bearable for a moment. A word of kindness, a cup kept warm, a task finished. Naming one small mercy helps the heart tilt toward rest. If only one goodness came today, hold it like a small lamp and let it help the darkness be less absolute. As I lead this prayer, remember the shape of our reading tonight. Words were not used to press theology or to win argument. They were used to keep company. They were used to be a steady voice when the night could have overwhelmed. Carry that practice into sleep. Let the texts be like a familiar song hummed at the edge of slumber. I place a closing benediction now, not as a loud decree, but as a calm handing over. May peace more wide than thought watch over the heart. May that peace be like a steady guard at the door of the mind. May it let in rest and keep out the sharpest torments for a while. May presence, patient and kind, remain through these hours. Let the hands that tended you by day keep their place in the dark. If it is right and safe, reach out tomorrow to someone who needs a small hand. The circle of care often returns an unexpected comfort. If sleep comes easily, receive it as a gift. If sleep resists, accept rest in stillness. Let the breath be your companion. Let the memory of mercy be a pillow beneath the mind. I will stay with the book for a moment longer. The lamp keeps its gentle circle. When I close the pages, it will be with the same quiet care that has guided this hour. Tonight, the prayer is simple. Stay near. Give rest. Keep peace. Let that threefold request be the last thing you carry to bed. Now, one breath together. Inhale slowly. Hold for 2 heartbeats. Exhale long. Picture the peace, settling like soft wool over the shoulders. Let the eyelids grow heavy if sleep is near. Let the jaw unclench. Let the hands relax. May the night be kind. May morning bring a small joy. May the peace that surpasses our ability to explain keep your heart and mind safe in the quiet of Christ. Rest now. I will read one more short passage when you are ready. For now, let the prayer settle where you are. Amen. I close the page with a soft hand. The lamp casts a pool that does not hurry. Outside, the night breathes the same slow breath we have learned to follow together. Inside, the room keeps its company. I have been your voice beside the bed. I have read to you with care. That is what I do each night. I sit here with these pages. Thank you for coming with me. Thank you for bringing your tired edges and your quiet needs. This hour holds a particular gentleness. It is not meant to fix everything. It is meant to make the night kinder to the one who lays down their head. Remember this small truth: you are not alone in the dark. There is an unbreaking companionship within reach. Picture it as a steady light at the window. Picture it as a hand that rests at the small of the back and does not let go. The presence I speak of does not rush the heart. It keeps watch quietly, like someone sitting at the foot of a bed, breathing slow and steady. So sleep can come. Tonight, let the body accept a simple kindness. Release the jaw. Soften the shoulders a fraction. Allow the feet to find a steady contact with the surface beneath them. These are tiny teachings for the body. Each small release tells the nervous system it is safe to unwind. The breath follows. The mind eases. If worry presses, bring it close and name it. One word is enough. Say it inwardly. Place it on a small table beside you in the imagination. Then, with a slow exhale, set it down. This is not magic. It is a practical motion. Repeating it is the work. I will keep reading to you as long as you want. I am the one who reads these passages at night. My voice is low. It is steady. It does not aim to argue. It aims to keep company. I read because words can become a hammock for the tired mind. I read because Scripture can offer images that settle like a shawl across the shoulders. Before sleep comes, try a short breath practice with me. Inhale gently for 4 counts. Pause with a small stillness. Exhale long for 6. On the in-breath, imagine a soft light filling the chest. On the out-breath, imagine a small knot loosening. Repeat 3 times. Let the rhythm be the lullaby you have learned tonight. Trust does not need to arrive as a show of feeling. Sometimes trust sits like a quiet ember under cold ash. It is enough to know the ember is there. Keep that knowledge like a token in the pocket. When the heart grows colder, brush the token and feel the warmth. If grief comes now, do not push it away. Gather it like a fragile cup. Carry it into the light of the lamp. Let it sit. Breathe with it. Tears are a language of mercy. They do not undo the past. They make room for tenderness. Allow the tears to be heard by the quiet presence that keeps watch. If anger or regret rises, meet it with a gentle hand. Place the heat on the table of the night for a moment. Offer it a small ritual. A scrap of paper, a folded word, a short inward sentence. This is heavy. Let the motion of setting it down be your first repair. Often the simplest acts are the most faithful. A glass of water at the bedside. Shoes set ready by the door. A note with one small plan for tomorrow. These are not mere chores. They are promises made to the self one day at a time. They steady the mind that wants to solve everything in the dark. If loneliness is the weight tonight, imagine a circle of hands. The hands are quiet. They hold without speaking. One of those hands is mine in imagination. I sit nearby and keep the lamp at a friendly height. I have read for many nights and heard many kinds of weariness. Your name, whether you speak it or not, is not absent to that listening. For those who are caring for others in the late hour, hold a soft blessing for yourself. Caregivers are often the last to accept rest. Lay your burden down with the same tenderness you give to others. Trust that kindness is not a finite resource. It can be replenished with sleep and small mercy. If the mind circles the future, give it a small anchor. Promise it one tiny task for morning, a 2-minute step outside, a warm drink, a single short message to a friend. The mind that has one small plan sleeps more easily than the mind that imagines every unsolved road. If safety is a worry, make the room a small harbor. Draw one curtain. Turn the lamp to a lower setting. Place a soft cloth over the shoulders. These actions tell the body it can relax. The night is a helper when the body recognizes its own small rituals. Before I finish, I offer a brief prayer in the hush. It is simple and plain. I carry your needs into it as if tucking them under a pillow for safekeeping. A prayer for rest that is more than sleep. A quiet present keeps the anxious mind. A steady presence holds the heart. Strength comes slow. Mercy finds each small place that aches. Be near, gentle companion, for the one who listens now. Let relief come in small measures. Let morning bring what is needed. Hold what we set down. Keep the fragile things safe. Amen. If this hour has been a comfort, consider coming back. If these nights help ease the breathing, subscribe to receive another quiet reading. Subscribing is a gentle way to gather these hours. It is like placing a small candle on a regular schedule. When the flame returns, the ritual grows stronger. If someone you know needs a softer night, share this hour with them, sending the link, a message, or a small invitation can be a real act of mercy. Many find rest by following a steady voice. Your sharing might be the reason a weary person finds a small harbor tonight. If you would like to connect, write a short note. Tell me what helps and what does not. The work of these readings learns from the small feedback of real nights. I read to learn how to keep company better. Your quiet messages teach the voice the right pace. I will return. There is a promise in the rhythm of coming back. The schedule is not a demand. It is a steady invitation. When the night is heavy again, I will sit with the book. I will let the words fall like soft boards under tired feet. I will read for as long as is helpful. Now tuck one small thought into your pocket of rest. It can be as simple as a hand will stay near, or the dark is not only empty, or one small breath will change the night by a little. Let that thought be like a bookmark between waking and sleeping. When the eyelids grow heavy, let them close. If sleep does not come right away, allow the body to rest in stillness. The stillness is itself an easing. It asks nothing and receives everything. Good night. Then sleep with the sense of steady company. Wake with the small hope that a morning will find you a bit stronger. I will be here again to read. I will not rush. I will keep my voice low and steady. I will keep the lamp gentle. We will meet in this quiet space another night. If you wish to keep this series near, subscribe now. If you know another traveler who needs a softer night, share this hour with them. Together we form a circle that makes the path less lonely. I close the book slowly. The lamp watches its pool. The room breathes on. The presence that keeps company does not leave. Rest now and be held. Good night.